Hi, this is Lisa. Today is day 13 of the 100-day challenge. So today I think I have a fun project that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be making, probably everybody's seen these, the Faux Library Pockets with a little library card in there. I created this generic colored one, but I've got this rainbow of colors out here because if you haven't seen yet, I have a video out of a journal I'm going to be working on. I've got posted about the cover. So here's the cover that I finished, and I got the journal pages printed, ready to go for that. But I am making a flower journal for the spring because my husband and I love to plant flowers in our yard, just tons of them. So I thought I'd make a journal where I can keep track of what flowers we plant, pictures of them over the years, stuff like that. So I have laid out a rainbow of stuff that I'm going to work on, but I just made the generic one to see how it's going. I have a sheet of the library cards, blank ones, where I've got from a couple different sources, and I copied them and arranged them onto a sheet of paper so I could shrink them down a little bit more so that they would fit inside of this pocket, because this pocket I think is a little smaller than a lot of people do for their journal cards, but I picked the size because also in another journal, in another video, I showed this where I've gotten the strips of 3.5 by 3.5 by 11, because I cut them out of 12 by 12 pieces of paper. So I've got my 8.5 by 11s, and this was my leftover 3.5 by 11 strips. So by default, I'm using these. These are 3.5 inches wide, give or take a little bit. But that's what I'm going to use to make the faux library pocket out of. So get those out of the way. So these are the colors I'm going to use to make the library pockets, and then I've got I've pulled all the ephemera that I'm going to stick on top as a guide. I'm going to show you this, and then I'll stop it and get everything arranged. But what I picked was I have these background sheets that I'll probably rip to add a little bit of something to the background, kind of like this tag. And then I've got a couple different flowers for each color. Like there's a couple peaches, and this is for the orange. So it goes red, and I do have pink in there because of floral. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, the rainbow colors. And what I picked for each one is, like I said, a background page that I thought went well with the color. And then I picked a couple flowers. I haven't decided which one I'll use to go on the front there. I found a little label in a similar color to go on each one, and I also found a stamp for each one. The stamps I picked ended up having, each one has some sort of bird on there. I lucked out and found everything. The purple was a little bit of a reach. You got a royal person, but it does have a dove on there. I'll show you that. So, but each one of the stamps does have some sort of bird on there. I thought it went well to tie in with the flowers and the birds for the garden. Now I won't use, possibly, we'll have to see how it lays out. I'm not sure if I'll use the stamp and the tag and the background and the flower, but for sure I'm going to use a flower, pick one, and then I'll figure out what else goes with it. But I think there's enough room on these fronts to be able to do each of those items. So I'm going to pause the video now, and I'm going to get this stuff off the way so I can start cutting the back pockets. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got everything set up here. So we're first going to start out by cutting these that are 11 down to 8 inches. So I'm just gonna take this whole pile and chop her down. Save a little time. All right, so we got a bunch of cards we'll be able to tuck into places for later for something. So get this out of the way. All right, and the next thing we're gonna do is fold these. So I've got the first one here that I did, and I wrote some instructions on the inside just to make it a little easier. So what we're gonna do is we'll start with the 8" by 3½. I'm going to score it on the back. So my first one is going to score the sides at 1/4 inch. So we're going to do that and flip it around to do that. Okay, so 1/4 inch is going to go on the sides. So now from the top, which is where this flap would be, if you had a directional item, you want to figure out which is the top, but mine are all texture print, so it doesn't really matter. So from the top, we're going to score a 1/2 inch down, which is basically just going to give a little bit of strength to the top of the pocket when it gets folded down. And then from the top, we're going to do 3 3/4. Now this is just a preference. You can do however you want to fold it up. You can eyeball and fold it up if you want, but 3 3/4 is what I chose to do mine at, so that they're all the same. Okay, so that is all you need to do for the scoring. So we'll go ahead and cut this one before I go through and score the rest. Excuse me. So first off, and I did the one side here, is you want to, this top flap that you're going to fold up, you want to cut just inside the score line, just to give it some room, breathing room. And then you just want to cut up for what's going to wrap around the back for that. So we'll do the same on here, just on the inside of that, and then cut that up. So this flap is going to go here, and then when we wrap this around, these side flaps will go for the front. So the next thing I do is, after I've done that, I'll come through and fold this. Now, you can go in here and we need to get rid of this top part here and then angle it, but I sometimes forget which way I need to angle it. So what I like to do is take this up here and just give a little snip from the score line, just a little snip out and just a little snip out, because then I know it's correct where that is. So it's a little chunk out of there. And then we are going to cut the back side, this part that's scored. We're going to just cut that off to get rid of it. All right, and flip that over so I can cut. And you can see with doing that angle, makes it a little easier. I know exactly where that angle would need to be. So we're gonna glue this flap down in the front for the top pocket. All right, so when we fold the front over, we're just gonna fold these flaps back and fold those flaps back. And there is our handy dandy little pocket. So now, since this is only one-sided paper, before I glue it down, like this one, I did stick some book page in. We could decorate it with something else. It could be fun to put another print in there if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to do some sort of book page kind of thing with it. So since I have, since I grabbed the pink one here, let me grab my pink paraphernalia for this. I have this pink, that's why I picked it here, but I figured what I could do is you can just rip this part, because I won't use all that, and just pick that for the front, and I can use this to glue in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that piece in, just making sure it was tall enough to flip this around, make sure it was tall enough to cover the hole. All right, so since I'm going to glue this in, I can just wrap this around the back. I won't actually have to worry about it. I might cut that off. Seems like there was not enough glue on there. Okay, so there, we'll have a nice little background for a pocket. Okay, so now if you don't want to do that, obviously you don't have to. I do want to also round the corner edges of this top thing. So I'm going to do that now while I can get all the way in here. Okay. Yeah, that'll be cute. All right, so now I'm gonna throw a little wet glue on this just to make it stronger. It's easier to do a little bitty line on this side pocket than it is to do that glue stick. So we'll fold that up and fold that over and fold that over. Okay. All right, so there is that one. I'll put the ephemera that I want to put on the front with it again so I don't lose it. And I'm going to go through and finish scoring and folding and cutting the rest of the colors. What I'll do is I'll speed that part up so you don't have to watch each one of them being made, since they're all very similar. Okay, so I got all the pockets scored and folded. So next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and throw the extra topper in there to make sure that it's covered. So I'm going to, since I've showed you it once, I'm going to go ahead and speed up through that too. So it's going to take me a few minutes to do that. Okay, so I have all of these scored and folded and nipped and tucked and rounded and looking spectacular. So the next thing I'm going to do is make the library cards that need to get tucked inside. So what I'm going to do is I've cut 7 of these. There's a couple duplicates in here, but I cut 7 of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them onto this piece of paper. It's just an index from a book I have, but it's pretty thick paper. So I'm going to glue these on there. And then once that is glued on there, I'm going to take a sheet of coffee dye paper and glue it on the back of that, so that when I cut them out, there'll be 3 layers. There'll be this flimsy layer, the thicker one, and then something that can be journaled on. So I'm going to go ahead and do all those. Once again, I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch me glue and dry. Okay, so I took a bit of time to let these dry. So you can see that there's the nice coffee dyed on the back. You can't see that. Here's one piece that's left over. You can't see the words from the thicker one in there. All nice and even. So I have another one if I want to make another card. I got a blank one there. And then, so I did these already. But after I cut them apart from the sheet, I just took just ever so little, nick the corner off of each corner just to give it a little bit of a not so new look. And then going through and distress ever so slightly the edges, because since there is 3 layers, sometimes it looks a little more white on the side. So we want to take care of that so it doesn't look as white. So now we have I'll go through, and some of these are a little bit bigger, some are a little smaller. Figure out which one I want to stick these in. And I might end up cutting them down a little bit if I want to have that show, but for right now, I think these will be okay. I like that one with that since it's got the red on there. It's a little tinier. There we go. Orange and purple. I think I'll do the orange and green. Yep, I like the orange and purple. Okay. That one's a little wider. And that one's a little smaller. Okay. So now they all have their own little cards sticking in there. Yeah. Red. Orange. Yellow. Roy. Gabiv. Green. Oh, violet. Okay. All right. Okay, beautiful. All right, so the next step is going to be, we'll go ahead and separate them so we can decorate each one. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause for a moment as I clean this up a little bit more and get my glue because it just fell, and get ready to work on the decorating. Okay, I'm back to finish decorating these library cards. It is actually a different day. I finished most of the rest of this yesterday, but some issues came up last night, so I couldn't finish the decorating, so I am decorating this morning. So, first off, I did go through and add little thumb cutouts for these. I thought they would be a little bit more decorative, so since I had already glued them together, it would have been better if I'd done it before they were glued together, but I can. Not normally I do it that way, but I can't, so I'm just going to do my best to center it on the card, and almost halfway because I got a little line there, and punch it out. So I did that with all the other ones too. This one I kind of mis-centered a little bit, and I'll just throw a little distress right there, and that will be done. So, all right, so to decorating, the fun part. All right, so I've already pulled this piece out here. I wanted to take this part of the paper because it had some pink on there. I'm just gonna start gluing and see where this takes me. So I hope your day is going well. Yesterday I had to stop the video. I got a call from my dad. He had fallen and couldn't get up, ironically, and is too stubborn to call an ambulance to help him. So luckily, I only live about 10 minutes away, so me and my husband went over there to help him get up. Nothing major, some scrapes and bruises, but never a dull moment. So by the time I got home after that, had some dinner, I was just a little too tired to go ahead and do the video. So here we are today. All right, so I'm going to audition some flowers and some tags and see what I like here. I really do like this flower. He takes up a little bit more room than I'd like. I like him. He's a little more delicate. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with those. Okay. All right, so I'm going to distress the flower just a tad, just to knock down the whiteness with my vintage photo. All right, and throw some glue on there. Put him right there. Ooh, slippery. Okay, and then I'm going to throw this stamp on there. Right about there. All right, and we'll save the label for, I got a little envelope I stick of the colored future projects for the floral journal I'm doing. So, all right, pink is done. All right, and we'll save those flowers to later. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to speed the rest of this up because the decorating is pretty much the same and it's going to take a while. So I'll be back when it is done. Okay, well, I love them, and they are going to look great when I finally get to making my book, and I'm able to stick them on some pages somewhere in the book. Yeah, these will look great. These are going to be awesome. Okay. All right, well, that is going to be it for this video. So if you like where this floral journal is going with the beautiful rainbow colors, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Up next, I have a couple more ideas for items to go inside the journal. I still have to post and complete the signatures to make that. So lots of fun stuff coming up ahead for this series. So once again, thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you have a creative day.